What's up, Nailed It listeners? Thanks for being with us today. I am so excited about this topic. This topic that we are digging into today is one that many business owners believe they understand or believe they have something in their business set up already, but most people are missing the mark. Most people are leaving so much opportunity on the table by neglecting this particular strain of marketing. So I am so excited to dig into it today. If you're brand new here, I am Elizabeth. I am our head of community at Contractor Dynamics. I've been with the company for about 5 years now. And if you're new to Contractor Dynamics, we are a marketing training company for the contracting industry. We are not a done-for-you agency. We help you actually take control of your marketing so that you can scale your business effectively. But today, I am thrilled to be joined by our good friend, Clifton. Clifton, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Absolutely. What's up, Elizabeth? My name is Clifton Muckenfuss. And Elizabeth off air asked me, tell them a little bit about what you do. And most people, when they ask me, so what do you do? I usually respond to that question with, it's not so much what I do, but who I am. Right? Because I think that's more important. And who I am is I'm a follower of Jesus. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a business coach. I'm an entrepreneur. I lead every day with a heart of service and to make people, my desire is to make people feel good. But I am the chief happiness officer at Building Raving Fans, which, we'll surely get into today. And that's really a passion of mine that came out, it was born out of a remodeling company that I owned for 11 years that I exited in 2021.
Awesome. Very good. I love that. 11 years. I didn't realize that. That's news to me. Learning new things. Very cool. Okay.
It was a really cool career in construction because I'm not your typical construction guy. And what I mean by that, I simply mean that a lot of people in the industry, Elizabeth, and this, they're on the tools and they're in the trades and they, one day say, oh, I can do it better than my boss, or, I'm going to go do this thing. They have the entrepreneurial seizure, right? I just was never on the tools. In fact, I still can't read a tape measure without every little tick mark, right? I wasn't good at math either. So my journey into construction was a little bit unique, a little bit different. So I started that company in 2010. And so again, I exited that in 2021. So 11 years in the business. And what's really cool, I know, is that the things we'll talk about today, Elizabeth, they're not theory. Just like my business coaching, I don't teach and coach on theory. Everything we talk about today will be things that I've absolutely actually done inside my own companies and have the results to prove that they work. So I think that's something unique about what we're going to talk about as well.
I love that. Very good. Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, let's dig in. If you are here and you've experienced any of these scenarios, you're in the right place. So if you have been in a scenario where you're finding that you have maybe a lack of those warm leads, maybe people who already know a little bit about you, maybe you're generating a lot of leads who are saying, all right, we're going to go get quotes from 5 other contractors and we'll call you back at some point. Or if you're finding that maybe you have a CRM full of names and contacts and maybe none of them know that you also offer other services, or you don't keep in touch with them at all, that you do a job for them and then they go off and you never speak to them again. Or if you're finding that your salespeople maybe they're frustrated, maybe they are looking to depend on something to share some credibility and they don't have that something. If you're experiencing any of those, then you're in the right place. We're going to dig into some things that can solve those particular issues. So, Clifton, I would love to dive in with this first particular question. You mentioned the term raving fan. In the roofing world, where we are simply replacing roofs, what on earth is a raving fan? What does that really mean?
A raving fan, Elizabeth, is someone that's just not satisfied. In fact, I believe that a satisfied customer is actually a liability. And what I mean by that is a satisfied customer is not one that's going to proactively go out of their way to share their experience, good or bad, right? They're just satisfied. It's kind of like on a scale of 0 to 10, 0, I'm the most miserable person ever, and 10, this was the greatest experience ever. They sit at the 5, right? They're satisfied. And so a raving fan is that person that is so obsessed about your business, your company, your brand, your product or service, your experience, your people, that they proactively go out and share their experience with others, their friends, their family, their neighbors, their coworkers. They proactively give you a 5-star Google review without you even asking. They're proactively asking, hey, can I give you a video testimonial? So those raving fans are just like fans of a sports team, right? So you think about any sports team, if you're in a home game, I'm a Clemson graduate, so I can relate, I'll talk about Clemson football, but if there's 81,000 people in Memorial Stadium and the Clemson Tigers are running down the hill, 95% of the people in the stands start going crazy. Those are raving fans. And the cool thing about this is that business owners can create those same types of people for their companies.
That's amazing. Okay. So if I initially hear that, the first thing that comes to mind is, all right, yeah, I get it. I need to work on my customer service. So tell us, is that a part of that, or is there much more to that you recommend?
Yeah. So let's start with, you said something there that I think is really good, is let's first start by making a distinction between customer service and customer experience. Customer service, when we think about customer service, that is really an individualized event. I'm going to use an example here that most people, if they've not experienced it, they can visualize it. Your cable goes out, or you have issues with your cell phone, or back in the day, your landline service, right? I'm going to date myself there. But you have an issue, or maybe your flight gets delayed or canceled, and you have to call about a specific event. And so that is customer service. When somebody on the other end of that line or chat or email helps you potentially solve a problem, that's customer service, right? That's merely doing what is expected. In fact, I heard someone refer to it recently as table manners. Like, you just need to do this. Customer experience, on the other hand, is every single touch point. From the time that they interact with your brand, the very first time, all the way through service delivery, and when you high five them at the end. So I think it's important to make that distinction first off.
That's excellent. That's a great distinction. I love that you started there. Massive difference there, and I think that's not only in the mindset, but I think that shows up in the systems that we're building and the communication that we have as well. So I love that. That's great. Most of the time when we talk to contractors who come to us at Contractor Dynamics and say, help me figure out my marketing, we'll dig in and we'll figure out kind of what are you all doing right now? Because the reality is, if we can help you put together the best possible marketing systems, but if our customer experience there, if we have some struggles there, well, your marketing is you're going to struggle. So these things are going hand in hand. But most people say we have an excellent system already. We don't need any help with generating referrals. We don't need any help with generating reviews. We don't really need any help there. We've got that figured out. We really just want to focus on Google. We want to focus on, social media. How do we generate revenue from there? But we find that once we dig in, that most people actually struggle to, number one, create that amazing customer experience. And then number two, actually generate consistent referrals and reviews. What do you think the biggest challenge is there?
I think the biggest challenge is that it goes back to the mindset, is that so many people are very transactional. They're so focused on, all right, I'm going to bring this person into the machine. We're going to quote them something. We're going to sell them something. We're going to build them something. And then we're just on to the next one. And so they have this mindset that, like, then we're just going to rinse and repeat. Well, when I started my company, Elizabeth, we talked about it off air, like I didn't have a marketing budget. Like when I say I didn't have one, like it was $0 right? I started my company on $1,750, and then my business partner put in $1,750. So imagine talking to someone, you started a company on $3,500. But the point is, we were able to meet with people and then just deliver a wow experience. And so every single thing, and I'll get back to this marketing question in a moment, but every single thing that we would ask a potential customer about contracting, like, what do you think about when you hear the word contractor? And I would just ask these questions and get super curious. And everything they told me, I'm like, cool, we're going to build a business that's so unlike that. That's going to help us stand out. And so that's what we did. And we had this mindset that we were going to take one customer, and instead of it being a transaction, we're going to take that one and we're going to multiply it, right? Create those raving fans so they couldn't wait to talk to other people about us. Another thing that I believe when contractors tell me, oh, we've got referrals, we've got this down pat, yeah. And so again, it's the mindset. There's a lot of ego in business, but when we really just kind of pull back the layers and we start asking deeper questions like, tell me, what's your system for this? How are you actually systematically ensuring that you're getting referrals and you're getting repeat business? And often, not always, but often there is no system. As you well know, because you train contractors to do this, most contractors don't even track their data. And unfortunately, because most contractors, we talked about it earlier, are starting on the tools, they don't know about marketing and the importance of KPIs and the importance of attribution and all that stuff. And so they're like, okay, well, I'm good at this thing. I can go build a roof or install siding, install windows. I can do this thing. Now, this guy tells me he's an expert, so I'm going to give him my marketing problem. It's his responsibility to go solve that problem. And then inherently, I'm just going to put blind faith and trust in him. And we all know what typically happens when that occurs. But let's talk briefly about like this direct response, like they want to focus on Google. And I think this will kind of guide us, is because again, when we're in marketing classes or we're going through entrepreneurship classes, if we go to college, they talk about direct response marketing. Like that's the big deal. Like, hey, I'm going to put a message out there. It's going to attract someone to make a decision or take an action, right? Direct response. Unfortunately, nobody talks enough about relationship marketing, which is how we can systematically actually connect with people, deliver a great experience, make deposits into the relationship equity bank. And in so doing, those people are out becoming brand advocates and evangelists for our company.
I love that.
That's where the magic happens, truthfully.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yes, that's right. We were asking in our mastermind that we have where we've got, owners who are coming together, and this is a group of primarily owners, but the owners in this group have typically a really good pulse on kind of some feedback from their sales team. Oftentimes the relationship with marketing is where we're really helping support, but they've got a good pulse on their sales team, and the sales team loves a referral. They love those leads, right? Because those are the leads where somebody already knows a little bit about us. They've already practically sold themselves. You know what I mean? Those are going to be our higher quality leads. We love them because we close them. Our sales team loves those. One thing that I would like to ask is, let's say I am a business owner. I'm young in my journey, and I want to do things the right way. And I want to ensure that I have both that amazing experience, and I want to put some systems in place to ensure that I'm creating that. What would you say is step number one?
Yeah. So step number one is determine exactly what you want. Like, what is it that you want from your business? truthfully, that's even what I tell my coaching clients. What is it that you want for your business? Because if you don't know what you want, it's very hard to get there, right? So if we figure out what we want from our business, and one of those things is I want to generate referrals. Okay, well, put yourself on the other side of the table. What would a company have to do in order for me to be compelled to refer them? So I would say that take off your ownership hat or your entrepreneur hat and then put on your I'm a customer hat. And let's figure out, okay, what would have to be true in order for me as a customer to refer that company?
I love that. That's great.
But it's all about the perspective and the mindset. So I think it's also important, Elizabeth, is that a lot of business owners are always looking for this magic pill. Hey, just give me this thing, right? I want this new strategy. Often though, if we just go down foundational and just really figure out the basics, business actually can be easy. Entrepreneurs make it difficult. People make it difficult.
We overcomplicate it so much. Yeah, exactly. We absolutely do. Yeah. I was listening to a podcast a few days ago in preparation, getting the vibe, getting the mind right to do this marketing workshop that we were doing. I always love to, on those mornings when I'm kind of getting ready for the day, listen to like some Alex Hormozy or some Gary Vee or whomever. And I was listening to a podcast by Gary Vee, and he was talking about how he has members of his team who are specifically dedicated to understanding the humans that they're serving, that they're selling things to, that they want to become a part of their community, right? Understanding what they think and what they love and what frustrates them and what their interests are and what they get excited about, what they like to talk about, what they already recommend. And when you get to understand, when you put yourself in their shoes, when you understand those kinds of things about those humans, I don't love to say like the consumer, but those humans, then you can build those connections. You can create content that attracts those people. You can create that experience that makes them go, oh, wow, this is different. This is way more than what I was looking for. I'm not just satisfied. I can't believe this was so awesome. And then they talk about it, right? But it's exactly what you said, putting yourself in their shoes and understanding them. That way you can create that kind of experience. I love that. That's really good.
Yeah, Gary Vee has got he's his content has changed, excuse me, so much. He's now going to, it used to be, in your face, and he still does that. And I love his message, but he is now starting to transition into more softer, more emotional connection, more gratitude thinking. He talks about the thank you economy, and which is what our company Building Raving Fans is all about. And now to have Gary Vee actually being vocal about that. But one thing I want to back up for just a moment. We talk about these referrals. Right? Salespeople absolutely love referrals. Business owners love referrals. And because, sure, the referral closes at a higher rate, right? They generally buy at a higher price. They have a lower sales cycle or a shorter sales cycle, less pricing objections. So that's really important to understand, because a lot of people are like, oh, I just want a referral because it's easy to close. But what they don't actually understand is the true value of that referral, again, which is that ACV goes up, shorter sales cycle, don't require as much follow-up. You also don't get I need to think about it, right? I need to get 3 more quotes. And so all of that combined, Elizabeth, and this is what I think, if anybody takes one thing away from this podcast, it is whenever you do that, the gap then, so your marketing costs then go down, and that gap is profit. And that's what we're in business for. Even the Bible talks about building businesses that are profitable, right? So I wanted to just kind of circle back to that and really kind of dive into why referrals, instead of superficially talking about them, why they're actually very, very impactful for future growth and scaling.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. We get a lot of questions about different kinds of referrals and the people who can be referral sources for us. So with your business specifically, what kind of referrals are we focused on? Are we focused on referrals from our existing customer base? Are we looking at referrals from strategic partners who actually haven't had our service done? Talk to us about that a little bit.
It's a really good question. And so here's what I think is very important. So it's both of those, meaning, existing customers, but then also prospective referral partners, very important. But I want to, because your audience, a lot of your audience is roofing contractors. And so one of the things that I hear often, well, my customers are only going to put one roof on their house ever. Right? Because part of this relationship marketing is also repeat business, and we'll probably touch on that as well. But these contractors are like, well, they're only going to buy one roof, or they're only going to buy one deck. They're only going to replace their windows one time. And you're right. But here's what we want to happen is when we're constantly top of mind, constantly expressing gratitude, again, relationship equity, to those people, inherently what happens is they feel good, they feel appreciated, they feel important. So then they go start talking. And so those are the referrals that you want. Again, it goes back to that brand evangelist. If you have people that are out proactively talking about you, how great your experience was. I had feedback recently where it was a customer of ours gave a gift to the customer of a general contractor he was working for. All right. So think about that. I ended up having a conversation with that general contractor, and he said, my customer reached out to me and was like blown away that the sub sent a gift to them and how impactful it was. And so that's the referrals we're talking about with existing customers. Now, when's the last time somebody gave you something, like sent you something? How did it make you feel?
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
We love that. Yeah.
And so if I'm a potential referral partner, if I identify potential referral partners and I send them things, maybe it's a handwritten thank you note. Maybe it's a handwritten thank you note with a $10 Starbucks gift card that just says, thank you a whole latte or something creative. And we're constantly top of mind. That person is going to want to do something for you. We talk about the law of reciprocity all the time, right? And so that's what we're talking about with relationship marketing. And it's not meant to replace direct response. So I think that's important as well. It's meant to amplify. It's meant to enhance. Like you guys talk to your clients, I imagine, and because I know some of your clients, you need a holistic marketing approach, right?
That's right.
The marketplace is super noisy, super fragmented. And so anyway, so referrals could be those existing customers as well as those potential referral partners.
That's right. A few times you've already said showing gratitude and staying top of mind.
Yes.
Well, I'll often hear people say, yeah, that friend, that person, that customer, that realtor, that insurance agent, whomever. Yeah, for a while they sent us people all the time and we just haven't heard from them in months or years or whatever, right? Well, that showing gratitude and staying top of mind, give us some tips. How do we actually do that? What are some things you recommend for us to be able to actually stay top of mind?
Yep. And so the first thing that I think is very important to talk about this first is that a lot of people start things. Consistency and discipline are where great people separate from good people. And so I have a lot of clients that start, I will give you the playbook to do what I do for as a company. I will give you the playbook and they'll start. And then it gets time consuming and then it gets difficult. And then it's like, now I got to go do this thing over here. And so the same thing with your referral partners. Because if you're not consistently sending them thank you cards, sending them notes, dropping them voice messages, sending them videos, stopping by their office to stay top of mind, like they are going to forget about you. Because I can tell you this, there's somebody else right now, one of your competitors, that's doing exactly that. And so my advice will be, if you start this, just maintain consistency. Don't get frustrated when you send out 50 thank you cards and nobody sends you a referral and you're like, this is nonsense. It doesn't work, right? You talked about Hermosi. He shares a story about going to some kind of festival or event or something. And he put out like 500 flyers on vehicles. And he called his mentor and he's like, this doesn't work. And his mentor said, well, how many flyers did you put out? And he's like, 500. And he goes, okay, great. I put out thousands a day, every day of the week, right? So again, be consistent. And here's the other thing. Be humble. Call somebody. The telephone works without sending a text message. Pick up the phone. Hey, Elizabeth, you've been a great referral partner of ours. I noticed that, have we done something? We haven't seen anybody. Like, how can we serve you better? What can we do to elevate you? How can we help you instead of always me? So that would be my advice to help maybe build that relationship.
I love that. That's big. If you are a busy owner and you're wearing all the hats and you're thinking, I can't stop by every office. My time is limited. I get it. I absolutely understand that. And like Clifton said, pick up the phone, send something through mail, use social media, send that voice note, send a selfie video. There are ways that you can leverage tools and technology to be able to do this as well. Now, like Clifton said, stopping by the office, that kind of thing. We want to prioritize the places where we're getting this sort of thing as well. However, if you are a busy owner and you're pulled in every direction and you are absolutely do not have someone else who can support you right now, there are plenty of tools and technology that you can leverage to be able to maintain this kind of thing. But the biggest thing that I want to emphasize that you said is consistency. As with everything, honestly, in life, the consistency is an absolute non-negotiable. That's right. And with all parts of marketing, if we start and we stop, we should not expect to continue to get results. So that consistency is absolutely huge.
Now it goes back really quick, Elizabeth. So consistency, but if you're not tracking attribution, right, you can consistently throw away a bunch of money too, right?
Yep, that's right.
So it goes back to the importance of tracking that attribution.
That's right. Now, let's get super granular for just a moment since you brought up tracking. All right. I have built my CRM. I've got a team. My salespeople are actually building their own raving fans. They're, helping create this whole experience. They're stopping by realtor's office. They're, sending out notes. They're doing all this. We've got a team. Our marketing team has systems in place. We're nurturing people. We're following up. We're calling on birthdays. We've got our newsletter list. Okay. Now we're trying to look into maybe our CRM, our other systems that we use and figure out where should we be spending more time? Where are we getting excellent referrals, that sort of thing. Who do we need to spend some time on? Who do we need to stop by and say, hey, actually, these are our ideal customers. Let's get on the same page. In terms of actual CRM tracking, do you recommend, because we do get this question often, in terms of splitting things up so that we understand all of our sources, do you recommend having a single source in our CRM that says referrals and dumping everybody into there? Do you recommend splitting things up? Like we've got past customers, we've got realtors, we've got insurance agent, we've got all these kind of things. In terms of tracking, what are your recommendations?
Yes, great question. So I want to get as granular as possible, but
Let's do it.
I don't want to get too far in the weeds.
Okay.
But I definitely don't want to hear or look at a bunch of other others and miscellaneous and all that, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to referrals specifically, yes, is it a referral from a customer? Is it a customer referral? Is it a strategic partner referral? Is it a manufacturing partner referral? So I definitely do want to track that data, and then I'm going to take it a step further. So my company was a James Hardie Elite Preferred Remodeler. And so it may have been a James Hardie referral. So that's a manufacturer referral, specifically James Hardie, specifically Owens Corning, specifically Atlas, whatever. And so then I can proactively reach out to those connections and say, hey man, we're getting a lot of traction from you guys. I just wanted to express my gratitude, Thank you so much. And of course, if you ask them, how can I serve you differently? They're just going to say, hey, keep putting up my product, right? But I do want to track that. I do want to get granular as possible.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, I want to talk through a couple of scenarios based on who our listeners are. Okay, so I'm an owner, and all I am focused on right now, because it's all I can see, is we got to meet that revenue goal, and I am, concerned about our cost of marketing. My marketing manager is swiping the card left and right. That's what I'm focused on. How will building more raving fans, how is that going to directly affect those particular things that I'm looking at?
Yes. So we know that raving fans, we know that referrals and repeat customers, we know, again, they're going to buy at a higher rate. They're actually going to reduce our lead cost, right? Because we don't have to spend more money necessarily to generate that opportunity, right? It's a much warmer opportunity, right? So as opposed to a cold lead that comes in, has to be nurtured, has to be educated. Again, we got this long sales cycle. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. The cost of paid traffic is becoming astronomical. I had someone recently, as of last week, tell me that like their fully loaded lead cost was like $1,500 or something. My response was like, holy shit, man, we need to talk like now, right? But the point of that is, so if you're an owner and you're focusing on revenue, you're focusing on marketing costs, we know that these raving fans, we know that they're going to lower lead costs. Let me give you an example. Someone you and I both know, he owns a decking company, and he came out of the gate, firing. He was investing 12, 13, 15% into marketing, really working on branding and stuff like that. And he and I have been working. He's been a Building Raving Fans client for, this will be probably second year. And through a bunch of things, so I'm not taking all of the credit here, but through a lot of things, like he's been able to reduce his marketing costs to like less than 3%. And he grew his business almost 100% in revenue. And I'm not talking about 500,000 to $1 million. I'm talking about 5 million to 9 million, with a target this year of maybe 16 million, adjusted from a $13 million target in January. So those are real numbers. And if you're an owner listening to this and you're like, I want some of that, you can have some of that too. But it starts with the mindset. Yeah. Do you believe in the power of relationships? And here's the other thing. This doesn't happen overnight, right? Consistency. Like, you don't go to the gym for the first time and do dumbbell curls and walk out to your car, jump in your car, come home, look in the mirror, and you don't have huge biceps and go, well, I'm done with that. Doesn't work, right? That's so right. Consistency backed up with some patience as well. But that's the message that I would send to the owner that's focusing on revenue and marketing costs.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. All right. I'm a marketing manager, and I am, I'm a decision maker. I make decisions with the marketing. I'm handling the marketing. I'm holding agencies accountable. I do all of that. What are some things that I can specifically do to, maybe in terms of systems, or some things that I should implement to create more raving fans?
If you're a marketing manager and that's your responsibility, yeah, you're holding the agencies accountable. You're doing all of that. Before that, or in addition to that, I want to do a deep dive into our existing process, our existing client experience, because there's some things I've not met. Yeah, I can say this with certainty. I've not met a single business that when we went through their client journey, they didn't have at least one opportunity to create a wow moment. Right. So my advice to that marketing manager would be like, let's analyze and assess our existing client experience, and then look at, okay, what's working, what's not working, what do our customers want, what's that wow experience we can deliver them. And so identifying that. And then if you're not able to fulfill that internally, if you don't have the team to do that, then start looking for outsourced partners that might be able to do that. Let me give you a quick example. So we have a lot of clients that come to us, and when they sign a contract, that homeowner is at a heightened state of just excitement. They're now going to get their roof replaced. They're now going to get their deck rebuilt. They're now going to get new siding. They're excited. But when that salesperson leaves and that money transfers, inherently what happens is doubt. These stories start creating in their heads, and they're like, did I make the right decision? Is that person going to take my money? Are they going to come back? Did we do make all this? But one of the things we do is automatically, when that person gets updated in our client's CRM, it triggers an action on our side, and we send that customer, that homeowner for our client, a handwritten thank you card that just simply says, Mrs. Smith, thank you so much for trusting us. You've made a great decision. We're committed to delivering the exceptional client experience that you deserve. And so now when Mrs. Smith gets that, all fear, all doubt, all worry, all anxiety is gone. We made the right decision. They took this time to do this. And so, but that's a way that you could do that internally. But if you don't have the bandwidth, then we could help you with that. Another thing is, think about how you follow up with people post-project. What's happening? Are you just set it and forget it and they're gone and everything is cool and we're waiting on them to refer us without actually reaching out? So the marketing manager could then look at, all right, are we actually touching these people, expressing gratitude, letting them know we appreciate them? Here's the deal, Elizabeth. Most customers in construction, outside of buying their house, remodeling their house is probably going to be the second largest purchase they make. Contractors need to appreciate that fact. And often we don't. We don't have empathy for the fact that the lady sitting across the table has been saving money for 3 years to get her windows replaced. And we're over here just with an ego going, oh, well, she just needs 20 windows. I mean, that's just 20 grand. Like, what's the problem? No, have some empathy.
Yeah.
Connect with these people before, during, and after.
That's huge. I love that. Before, during, and after. That is the piece right there. Yeah. I love that. And talk about a wow moment. That's great. The handwritten letter that comes after they've, signed on the dotted line or given up some of that cash. You're absolutely right. There's a high and then there's a pause. Mm-hmm. And then it's, it could be, maybe it's a week, maybe it's weeks later. And that's a lot of time to start talking through worst case scenarios. And then you're in the local Facebook group and somebody talks about how, their landscaping is destroyed and they, their driveway is cracked and and so your homeowners get in their head. And so that little things like that they seem like, we'll do that at some point when we've got a massive business, but those are the kinds of things that can help build that up so that you get, you have those systems behind the scene that really creates that certainty, which is huge. I love that. That's a great example. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay. I'm a salesperson and the marketing team is constantly saying, create some more content, talk to that homeowner, get that testimonial, ask for the review, do it again. But I'm just focused on the next sale. Or they're saying, go to that networking event or, go pass out your business cards or whatever. All I'm really focused on is selling. I'm focused on making more money. Now, I care about my people. I'm not going to, tell them their roof is messed up when it's not, but that's kind of what I'm focused on. Why is this whole concept important and how can it directly affect me as a salesperson?
Yeah, so there's two things here. And I think one is, what are the expectations that the leadership is setting for the salesperson when he or she takes the role? Is the expectation up front? And in other words, what I mean by is the role and responsibilities, do they stipulate that you're going to go out and be a brand evangelist for the company that you work for? Because if it's not, and then you try to force that, well, then it causes issues. But let's assume you're an awesome leader, an awesome business owner, and part of the job description is you will go out and establish referral relationships and things like that. I actually have sales reps now that leverage the programs that we have because they understand that they don't have time to do this, to send handwritten thank you cards and to send carefully curated gifts and all the things that we do, but they understand the power of it. And they also understand that, okay, well, if I just did a great job for Mrs. Smith and this company automatically is going to send this stuff out on my behalf, now Mrs. Smith's going to tell Mrs. Jones and this person and that person. Well, now, oh, by the way, if I'm a salesperson that gets a higher commission on self-generated leads, okay, well, now this is directly affecting my compensation.
Yep.
And so I want to start with, what are the expectations of the role? And again, if it is to go out and establish those relationships, then there's plenty of ways that we can help with that as well.
That's huge. Yeah. Okay. Clifton, you told the story about our friend who has the debt company, and that's a beautiful case study. I mean, I love that. Are there any other common themes that you see from people who maybe they begin working with you? They're really prioritizing creating raving fans. They're prioritizing that whole customer experience. What are some other common things that the growth that those businesses have? What are the common things that you see when they really start to invest in this kind of thing?
Absolutely. So I have another client that he's up in the Midwest, and he made a few introductions to me, and he was just sharing that it was the things we were doing for him were the least expensive, most cost-effective program, but yet generating the highest return on what I'm going to say relationship. And that's different than investment, but it was also their best marketing source, right? We were sending things out to existing customers because what happens again, Elizabeth, and I can't say this enough, is that when somebody gets something, like they want to go conspire to help you. There's nothing greater than that. Right. So we've had that type of feedback. We have a flooring company in the Ohio area or the state of Ohio who just sent us 3 referrals stating and citing that this has been the greatest lead source for them because now referrals are up significantly. We've had people go from like a 5% referral rate to 25%, 25 to 35%. And so that's huge. No necessary, because the price of what we do, again, I hate to say this, like we're massively undercharged. And this is not me selling anything. It's just massively underpriced. Here's why though. Because I believe that more people deserve the results that we give our clients.
I love that.
Yep.
I love
and
that.
That's the truth.
Very good. Yeah. That's awesome. Clifton, some final thoughts here before we dig into a little bit more of an explanation of exactly how you serve your clients and then some rapid fire. I had a meeting just before this with a company who said, we have got to do something different. We are generating a ton of leads from Google, but we are running all over the place. We are being underbid. We are exhausted. This is not working. We're good people. We're doing great work. What is broken? And I immediately thought of you because these are people who want to provide exactly what you're talking about, but they're so overwhelmed trying to figure out how to make it work. And this is such a perfect marriage because they want to invest in that client experience. They want better leads. They want higher quality leads. They want more people to understand that they care. And so manually, they're doing things that I love, like they have created these coloring sheets for kids and these little crayons. And at their inspections, they leave them at the home. Well, look, that's amazing, right? They print them at their house. They're cheap. But the kids love them. It's great. That's a little touch like that. And then there are other things that they want to do, but they don't have the time to do it. And they would love to be able to figure out how to automate some of these things. And it sounds like that's a perfect solution that you guys provide. So before we get into rapid fire, give us the 2-minute version for exactly how you guys at Creating Raving Fans can help busy contractors be able to create this experience and have more of these raving fans.
Be happy to. It all starts with what we call our Customers for Life Flywheel, right? At the heart of it is sending handwritten thank you cards. Right. These are customized for the business, but they're you cannot tell that a human did not write it. The technology that we have is is definitely best in class, but there's something different about something that arrives in a handwritten envelope with a handwritten message. It triggers and creates just a deeper emotional connection. Why? Because it's old-fashioned. Why? Because nobody expects it. Why? Because it takes time. And so that's really kind of foundationally as part of the flywheel. Secondly, we send out thoughtful, surprise, and delight gifts. We send those out on a quarterly basis. Those are not logoed gifts. Don't get me on a rant about branded gifts. Those are we don't believe in that. We don't do that. We don't ship those. And the reason why is because those are self-promotional and aggrandizing, and everybody knows it's marketing. We send out things that people can use and not single use. We don't send out food items because, if I eat cookies and then after I eat the cookies, well, then I just have an empty jar or an empty box. And so we're sending out gifts that people can use, people can reuse, constantly being reminded, but we send those out quarterly. Then we send people, we add people to long-term email nurture programs where we're sending them, value-added content. We're not always trying to sell them things. We do occasionally offer them some incentives to come back. We've coupled that with referral rewards programs where people can give referrals, where we can enter them into contests. So a lot of different things that we do to just, again, stay top of mind. We're going to stay top of mind in your mailbox and in your inbox. Here's the greatest part about it. Your competition, in fact, the guy we were just talking about, I'll say his name, Luan, the owner of Deck Bros, because I love him. He just shared recently, his competition has no clue how in the hell he's just blowing up. And so here's the deal. When you're advertising on Google and Facebook and in direct response, publications, your competition sees what you're advertising. They see your message. They often will replicate it, duplicate it, copy it, whatever you want to call it. Guess what? They can't copy. They have no idea if I'm sending something to Mrs. Smith's mailbox. All that your competition then sees is your yard signs continuing to show up all over the place, and they're just scratching their head, right? So that's kind of the flywheel in 90 seconds.
I love that. That's so awesome. And I love that you named Luan specifically, man. We love him around here at Contractor Dynamics for sure. That's great. Good stuff. Okay, awesome. Well, in just a minute, I'm going to make sure that you all know how to directly connect with Clifton. That way you can follow along on Clifton's journey, but also get connected with him so that you can start creating some more raving fans. But Clifton, let's do some quick rapid fire. Yep. Sound okay? Okay. Now I can already just tell by the way that you're talking that you're going to have a more nuanced answer for this first one, but give us some quick tips for generating more Google reviews.
Yeah. So I think it's identifying the right time in the journey to ask. Most people think that they have to wait until the project is over to ask for the review. We actually got Google reviews at my own company after a sales presentation. How was this presentation? How was everything up to this point? It was amazing. Great. Would you share this with others? People can benefit from your experience thus far. Yep. And so I think it's asking at the right time.
I love that.
Also, it's make it easy for them, right? I've started to think about this concept of I'm going to make our business ridiculously easy to do business with. I'm going to try to remove all friction from doing business with us. Why people want to make things easy. And so, one of the things I just looked over here, one of the things we have as part of our flywheel is Raving Fans reviews. And so when project managers are closing out projects, that customer can tap this card, they can scan this, they can leave the review right then. So make it easy for them.
Nice.
So timing, easy. Oh, and here's an easy one for you. Reward your team. Give them a spiff. If you think about this, if you did 100 jobs a year and your Google review capture rate increase to 50%. Well, that's 50 Google reviews. That gets you better organic placement. That gets you more organic lead gen. Well, if you paid your people $20 a review, I'm not great at math, but those things math. Those are good economics, right?
That math is working.
The math is working. Yeah. So it's ask at the right time, make it simple, and reward your people.
I love it. Very good. All right. Clifton, what are you excited about this year?
Yeah. So my word for 2025 is expand.
Okay.
And so I'm really looking forward to not only expanding Building Raving Fans, which is my company, but also expanding the impact that I have on small business owners through coaching and consulting. And beyond that, I coach youth sports. And so I'm super excited about pouring into young men on the football field and just really being a light and a role model in their lives. So that's really what I'm looking forward to expanding in 2025.
Awesome. I love that. That's great. I didn't realize you coached youth sports. That's super cool. Very cool. Okay. Good stuff. What is an excellent book or a podcast that you've listened to or read lately that you would highly recommend to business owners?
A book would be Never Split the Difference, Chris Voss. It's an incredible book about sales and leadership.
It's a good one.
Read the book, but the audio book is really, really good. And it goes back to talking about the tactical empathy and really connecting with people. So that would be a great book. Podcast, The Game, Hermosi is best in class. And I'll also, like I mentioned earlier, Gary Vee has changed his content. Alex has really transitioned from, he used to go super technical and just very analytical, but he's now responded to the audience and he's made it a lot of it easier to really follow and dive into. So I'm really, really loving his new stuff as well.
Love it. Awesome. All right. Last one. I am a business owner and I'm exhausted and I've hit a wall and I'm feeling kind of stuck and alone and I'm wondering if I should be in it. It's just one of those, days, weeks, months, that kind of thing. Any just kind of quick advice for that person?
Yeah. One, welcome to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. But two, and this might not be the answer you're expecting, but two, I actually don't think you have a business problem. I think you might have a perspective problem. And so I would say, let's change your perspective. Get involved in a community, right? Get around some coaches, get around some mentors, get around some peers, get around some people that are going to challenge your thought process and the way you're thinking. Because you're going to get more of what you think about. And if you're thinking I'm stuck and I'm thinking I'm alone, well, you're going to stay there. But I believe you might not have a business problem. You might have a perspective problem.
That's great. I love that. Good advice. Awesome. Well, Clifton, this has been fantastic. If people would like to follow along on your journey or get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Absolutely. BuildingRavingFans.com. You can follow me on Facebook at Clifton Muckenfuss, Instagram as well. And also on LinkedIn. But yeah, Building Raving Fans would be an incredible place for you to go. We've got lots of resources there, lots of articles, lots of educational stuff. And if anything we've talked about today, resonates and you want to talk about a growth through gratitude strategy, cool. Let's have a conversation. I will never sell you anything. I'll just help you understand why it's important.
Awesome. Very good. Well, you all, we highly recommend connecting with Clifton and looking into his business. We've known him for a few years now, and we're big fans over here. Thanks for listening today, you all. Our next episode is going to be focused on marketing planning, specifically the finance and budgeting arm. So that's a really good one to tune into to ensure that you are getting the best results out of your marketing and that you are not wasting your hard-earned money. Thanks as always for listening, and we'll see you next time.